York to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
It's Ebro, Laura Rosenberg. Good morning, everyone. And back on the program, New Jersey's own governor, Phil Murphy. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Great to be back. Hope you're all well.
We are. How's the family, man? How's the kids, the wife, everybody?
Knocking on wood, everybody is good. Scattered at the moment, but everybody's good. The First Lady and I are out there pounding away. We only have a few more days till elections, so we're on the trail, hot and heavy.
Early voting is happening?
Yeah. Early voting through Sunday, October 31st through Halloween. First time ever in New Jersey. So far, so good. We all voted. Our whole family voted on Saturday, and it was the best voting experience I've ever had. Really, really impressive. So hopefully that'll increase participation. That's what's happened in other states that have it, and God willing, that'll be the case here.
So I have a question with the early voting stuff and all of the convos around the nation about voting rights and the way, Republicans are trying to change laws, et cetera, et cetera. And I read an article that in Jersey, there was an attempt to disenfranchise, more densely populated Black districts and not have enough voting machines, et cetera, et cetera. Like, is that true? Have you heard that? Have you had to combat that, or your administration?
Yeah. So listen, the Republicans, sadly, are against voting and against democracy for reasons I don't frankly understand. They don't want people to vote. And so you see this in other states all around the country. They're closing democracy, and I'm proud that we're opening it up. So I'm not surprised that you've heard that. I think we've done a good job of pushing back at that. So, for instance, in Newark, Essex County, which is the county that Newark is in, has 10 locations in total, but 4 of them are in Newark, for instance.
Right.
But I'm running against a guy, by the way, who doesn't like this, wants to take school funding away from Black and brown communities. So it should be no surprise that these guys, and him in particular, are against opening things up and against doing the right thing by urban communities.
Well, that's currently on brand for Republicans.
It's pathetic. I'm running against the guy, Ebro, who, if you listen to what he says and what he stands for, he sounds like he's running for the governor of Texas. It's just not New Jersey values, even New Jersey Republican traditional values. It's awful.
I hear the commercials on ESPN for this guy who's running against you, and the one thing he seems to be harping on was some line that you reportedly said about, like, if you're not rich, you shouldn't be in New Jersey. I forget how it was framed. Can you tell us what they're doing, what you actually said, what's going on with that?
I appreciate, Rosenberg, you're asking that. So it's taken completely out of context. And here's what I was saying, and this is a fact. Certain states, every state has a bumper sticker. Florida, no income tax. Texas, we love guns, and we're criminalizing women. You pick the state. Our bumper sticker is we're the #1 state in America to raise a family. And that's a complicated bumper sticker. That's #1 in public education, which we are, top handful in public health, top handful, if not the top in terms of quality of life. And we want to make sure the state's affordable, but none of what I just said comes free. So we want to make sure it's a good value for money state. And they took that comment completely out of context. But I'm proud of the fact that we are indeed the #1 state in America to raise a family, and we weren't 4 years ago. And I'm incredibly proud of that.
Oh, and Ebro, the direct line was, it was, if taxes is your problem, then New Jersey is not the state for you.
Yeah. I mean, and again, taken out of context, the point was, if your report card only has one line on it, do you have an income tax or not? You're going to be looking at something like Florida. But if you want to raise a family, and by the way, I think we're getting more affordable by the day, you should be in New Jersey. And by the way, people are voting with their feet. Our population is growing like never before.
On that note, many people are confused about the collection of taxes, or they're maybe negative in trusting the bureaucracy of government to take taxes that are paid and actually have it benefit working class families, rebuilding roads, the things that you pointed out, health services, public school, et cetera, et cetera. As governor, what have you gotten done that a voter would love? And where are some things, and this is kind of like a self-assessment, where are some things you felt like you could have done better with the collecting of taxes and the spending into the communities that need them?
Yeah, so great question. If you're a working class family in New Jersey today and compare your situation to the day that I became governor, you're paying less in income tax, less for childcare, less for healthcare, less for college, and NJ transit fares have not gone up one penny. So the state clearly, if you're in the middle class in this state, the state clearly has gotten more affordable. Is it where it needs to be yet? No, we're going to continue to pound away on that. Are you getting your money's worth? I think you are. So 53% of an average property tax bill in New Jersey goes to public education. We are now, for 2 years running, rated as the #1 public education state in America. I think that's getting your money's worth. Do we need to continue to make progress on affordability? Absolutely. I want to not just have low property tax increases. I want to decrease property taxes without giving up those precious realities that we now enjoy. #1 public education, top healthcare, #1 state in America to raise a family.
And so how do you do that? Can you explain that, for a voter? Because I think right now we're living in a time we, as voters and young people specifically, who are more tuned into voting, whether they are or are not, they're listening.
Yep.
And wanting to kind of go, who is a politician, local or otherwise, that I could actually take their word as fact or their plan as something that they really want to get done. So how do you do that?
Yeah. And by the way, Ebro, one of the things I'm most proud of is we are exactly who we said we would be. When we were campaigning 4 years ago in the primary, in the general, in almost 4 years as governor, we have not pulled any fast ones. And I hope young people accept that and realize that. So for instance, we said we're going to legalize adult use cannabis. It took me forever and always. We got it done. We said we were
you missed the mark on 100 days, but you got it done.
But we got it done. And by the way, we promised that we would both look forward and build that industry with equity in mind, first and foremost. And we would look back, and I'm incredibly proud to say, as we sit here, 362,000 expungements of low-end drug offenses since over the past 6 months. I think the pandemic, which I never thought through a political lens. So this is not a political answer. This is I think a factual answer. If young people need to see, is there still value in government? Is it still worth it to pay my taxes? Is it still worth it to trust authorities? I think at least in New Jersey, we have been straight with folks. We made the calls based on science, fact, and data. We never veered from that. We never allowed politics to get in the way of any decision we made, including some decisions which continue to be extremely unpopular politically. But I think that should give faith to young people that government can play an important, trustworthy role in their lives, as one example.
Love that. So Governor Murphy, early voting is going. We established that. What do you have in the future? What are the next 4 years? What's the big plan for you? Other than the things you said you want to do better at, what's the big plan? Because the first plan was legalizing weed. You got that. And now it's about collecting those taxes and distributing that money to the communities that need it. So we're going to be watching you on that and making sure it's more equitable. But what's the big headline for the next 4 after you win?
Yeah, again, great question. I'll give you a few. I don't know that there's one. First of all, continuing the journey that we're on so many of these things. So with some newspaper about a year ago printed that I had 52 campaign promises in 2017 and that we had at least started on 50 of them, which is a heck of a good batting average, but we got to continue. So for instance, we got to make sure the legal weed industry is equitable as our commission is planning it. We have to make sure we continue to get to minimum wage of $15 an hour, that we continue to have a millionaire's tax, that we continue to reform criminal justice, that we continue all the journeys that we've started on, making our pension payments year in and year out. But on my list, Ebro, would be high on the list would be protecting a women's reproductive freedoms, which are under assault at the national level. Gun safety package 3.0, which is a collection of bills. We're already the strongest gun safety state in America. I want to make us stronger. I think a big ethics package of bills would be up to bat. And then beyond that, continuing.
What's Well, sorry to stop your flow. What's
Yeah.
an ethics package? What is that talking about?
To make government essentially more transparent, to make
Okay.
the way we do business in Trenton, the state capital, to make it more transparent, more accessible for our residents. And right now it's too opaque and it's too remote. We also are trying, and so far so good, we got to continue to grow the economy. That's part of the answer to property taxes, by the way. We continue to grow the economy, we'll have more financial latitude to put a lot more resources up against making the state more affordable. You may have seen this yesterday. It came out. Netflix made a statement on the record that they're bidding on an almost 300-acre parcel in New Jersey
doing shooting movies in Jersey.
Facility. And so we got a lot of new exciting industries, film, television, digital, high on the list.
Amazing. That's beautiful.
It'd be great.
Now, obviously we're watching what's going on here in New York with our response to the pandemic, and we're seeing vaccinations at a pretty good level, but things have sort of stalled at this point to some degree. Where do things stand in New Jersey? And what do you see happening, frankly, Governor, over the next 6 months as we hopefully completely return to normalcy?
Please, God. We're in good shape, and I'm knocking on wood. We are among the most vaccinated states in the nation. I think we're the most vaccinated big state. We have the lowest percentage of our ICU beds with COVID patients of any state in America. Again, I'm knocking on wood here. Please, God, it stays that way. The Delta variant feels like it has crested. It started to come down. We have, I think, a good package in place. So, for instance, educators, state employees need to get vaccinated or face multiple tests per week, masking in all of our school buildings. That package feels like it's working. And I worry. I'll tell you what my worry is, and then I'll give you my optimism. The worry is, as we live more of our lives indoors and with the holidays on top of that, I'm concerned we may see another bump up. But in the sort of intermediate term, I'm incredibly optimistic. New Jerseyans by the millions, for all the few knuckleheads that are out there, New Jerseyans by the millions have done the right thing. And I'm in the medium term, really optimistic.
Governor Phil Murphy, man, thank you for your time. I know it's serious business right now. Early voting's going on, big election day next week. So, we can't talk as much shit as we normally do, but, and it's been serious the last few times with the pandemic. It's been crazy too. So
you guys,
I'll let you get back to serious business.
Thank you for having me, Ebro and Rosenberg, and to the whole crew there. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
All right,
Governor.
Governor Phil Murphy, look for him out there in Jersey. Hold it down. Listen, if y'all don't show up to vote, it's a problem.
Yep.
All the good times going on in Jersey could come to a screeching halt. Especially that weed and the expungements of those records. So y'all get to the ballots, man, to the voting boxes, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Governor.